Greetings. Hey there, Habadi. This is Kiy NY007. Welcome to my channel. I'm an amateur astronaut. As you see here with the Smithsonian Magazine, the federal government forbids private ownership of any Apollo sample. Yet, they keep showing up in auctions here and there. So why is it still being sold? And is it really only the samples from Apollo 11, or is it possibly some stolen material too, like I've been tracking? And here's a question I didn't think I'd ever ask. Is the Earth flat? Where the flat Earth is at? We need to chat. Want to know some of your thoughts, and those that have round Earth thoughts as well. It's a very old map, and there's been still a lot of conversation about round Earth versus flat Earth. So yeah, we can get our discussion on with that too, hopefully in the near future. And in case you haven't noticed, NASA has been making many more trips to the moon and back, more than ever before. So there's been some questions I've been having about their travels. I've been wondering what's going on the moon that we're just not hearing about. Because there's been so many increases in travel. I study astronomy too. It's one of my things I like to do a lot. And I add content here on my channel from time to time. Hopefully can help excite you, inspire you, and we can exchange information. The reason I'm bringing this up is because there's been an increase in theft through NASA astronauts, etc. So you don't hear about it. And before, there was huge heists in history that I want to talk about, and just bringing more awareness to what's going on, and then some of the cover-ups. Also, this book, Sex on the Moon, I'll talk about that and what that has to do with this conversation. So for starters, as most of us know, July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. Now, in 1972, he gave a vial of moon dust to a friend of his for his daughter, Laura Murray Siegel. Now, as time has moved on and years later, on June 2018, Laura took NASA to court. They went to the U.S. District Court of Kansas. The defendants were NASA. Now, they wanted it to be dismissed, her claim to the fact that she is the owner of this moon dust. She ended up losing. So NASA won their decision that they wanted, so they granted that order be dismissed. Now, this is linked to legislation that was passed in 2012 by Congress, which allowed astronauts to take home memorabilia, certain things, but it's exempted for lunar rocks and other lunar material to be kept in the possession of an astronaut. It's illegal. So therefore, that supersedes the gift she received, that awesome gift from an amazing moon we have. And I'll bet you're thinking that the biggest heists were pulled off right here on Earth with something to do with a bank or monies, things like that, with things that are more commonly known. But no, the biggest heist in the universe, literally, came from this man right here and a couple of his accomplices. This is Thad Roberts. He worked with NASA, highly acclaimed. He pulled off a heist of stealing moon rocks and dust worth $21 million in 2002. He and a woman that he was having an affair with, a NASA intern named Tiffany Fowler, she was 22, Thad was 25, and then another woman came along named Shay Sauer, another intern. She was 19. Now, Thad has a wife named Katie, but he became romantically involved with Tiffany. They ended up pulling off the heist. They collected cabinet drawers that were heavy, but somehow they got it and lugged it onto their truck and took it on home. I bring up the book because he created a book after serving time for this heist called Sex on the Moon, where he describes that they spread the moon rocks across the bed, put a blanket over it, and proceeded to have sex on top of the rocks because he said it symbolized that he would give her the moon, and they were having sex on the moon, something no one has ever done before. They're known as the worst interns of all time. So 4 of them ended up getting busted. Thad had reached out to an old friend, Gordon McWhorter. He was possibly interested in purchasing some of the moon rocks. They met at a restaurant to go over everything and make deals. But to their surprise, everyone there in the restaurant was FBI. So at that point, the 3 were arrested: Thad, Cher, and Tiffany. They all quickly gave up info and snitched on each other. McWhorter felt like he didn't really have much to do with it. He was kind of pulled into this, but yeah, he did some time as well. He ended up getting 5 years and 10 months in a Colorado prison. So as far as sentencing, Thad served 100 months of prison, which is only around maybe almost 4 years probably for him. And they did that because they combined other charges that he had also, because he stole dinosaur fossils. Okay, so this man was a huge thief. He had a history of stealing things. They had some other stuff he took from a museum as well, so there were like flags along the way that, this guy was big time thieving, okay? Now, what was interesting to me is that the 2 females involved got little slaps on the wrists. They had just as much involvement in this heist. So we have, again, Tiffany, who was 22 at the time, and we have Shay, who was 19. Both females received 6 months of house arrest and then only 3 years probation. For pulling off such a big heist like this, that was it. Oh yeah, and they're no longer eligible to ever become astronauts. So if you're like me and you're curious, or you're just like looking up at the sky and want to know more about it, what's going on up there, hopefully you come back and tune into my channel because I will have more. A lot is up there, a lot is going on in space, and yes, it has an effect on us down here on Earth, our behaviors, our environment. So it is very important. We're all tied in together. And in most exciting news with space, we just received recently our total solar eclipse of 2024. Now, to see a comet, which is still extremely rare to see, the only time they say we really would be able to possibly see it is during an eclipse. And a fellow amateur astronomer actually captured it. His name is Lin Chuan. He discovered this comet during the 2024 solar eclipse. So it's very exciting to see. And it was able to be seen for a short amount of time before it was then destroyed by the sun. So they believe that's what happened shortly after that. Also, now speaking on to the future, as I bring this to a close, things are picking up. Now, yes, we do have more advanced technology, etc., but there's still things that they're just not telling us. Some things they shouldn't tell us, but some things I believe we're entitled to know. And that's why it's good to pay attention, check in on NASA, not just NASA, because NASA's kind of covering their own behinds. Because when crimes are committed and it has to do with astronauts from America, things like that, that automatically connects to NASA. That's why we're not hearing about these other thefts that are going on. There were recent thefts. I saw some from last year. and they're keeping it quiet. They're like, oh yeah, some stuff might have been brought back, and then they hurry up and talk about something else. They want us to look over here. Don't look over here with the criminal activity that's going on. No, some of us want to see it all, okay? And I'm gonna come on here and report it to y'all, you know. So wanted to bring up too. Back then, samples were quoted at maybe around 5,000 a gram. Some were quoted at a smaller amount. Now we have moon dust and there's moon rock. In 2022, according to USA Today, a pinch of moon dust collected by Neil Armstrong from Apollo 11 mission was bought for $500,000. Now, see, that came from him, so that could even have even more value the first time on the moon, etc. But it still goes for very large amounts. So you can just imagine people going out there, and now they're having more citizens that are able to travel to space. So they're going to start letting you go further and further out. But it is prohibited to bring materials back to Earth. But people knowing they can and they can make a lot of money, you're going to start to see, I feel we're going to start to see more crimes going on and being committed. You know, it's not going to be able to cover everything up. Things are becoming more and more revealed. And that's what I appreciate too with the changes that are going on in space. Also, now and as the future is going on, space wars are beginning to get revved up, particularly China and mostly with Russia. They are coming up with science-defying, unauthorized, everything type of equipment that they've created to basically have wars in space. Things that are going out so far in space, but they're on war missions. So we will be seeing and hearing some more about that. So yeah, stop back by for updates from my channel. I'll have on these topics and more. Salute to my fellow amateur astronauts out there. Peace and safe travels.